Welcome, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I'm the Grace Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? Can I please have the first two cards in our 5-card spread? First two cards we are starting our day off with today, our Page of Cups in its upright, in combination with the Hierophant. Let's talk a little bit about this energy right now, because one of the things that we're going to continue to work through is we are currently going through a very energetically intense eclipse cycle. I'm going to keep on reaffirming this. Eclipses don't necessarily have a unique energetic signature. That's why they're often articulated as being unpredictable. How we are effectively going to feel in an eclipse cycle has a lot to do with where the planets are at the moment that the eclipse occurs. And what we're effectively seeing right now is I keep on describing this as a very anomalous eclipse, because what we basically have happening is we are already in the midst of a very intense retrograde cycle. And then boom, we've got the eclipse that effectively compounds a lot of the energy of the retrograde. So I want you to think about that as you're navigating this type of energy. It's going to potentially, and that's why I was saying even last week, if you weren't feeling energetically grounded within the energy, to just focus on grounding right now as you're navigating through it, because it's going to continue to energetically intensify. We're in this eclipse cycle until about the 22nd. The other thing to be very conscientious about is we have a lot of those planets in the eclipse cycle that are retrograde, like in this cycle, that are retrograding in the house of Aries. Now, what do we effectively sometimes experience when we have a lot of planets retrograding in Aries? We have to work through a lot of the lessons that we find that those with Aries placements have to work through. Aries placements often are going through a lot of issues in relationality to working on their relationship to time, potentially not getting frustrated at time. I would not be surprised right now if you're having timing issues, given the fact that we've got Neptune and Saturn that are both in retrograde together right now. So if you're feeling a lot of emotionality or working through some kind of overwhelm as it relates to things ramping up or a lot of things happening all at once, welcome to this retrograde process. welcome to the retrograde / eclipse process. Now, the one thing we are seeing is that there is a benefit to be found in relationality to energy in separation, working through this. I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like this energy it feels like a bit of grinding gears energy. Okay, especially given the fact that right before the eclipse process started, Uranus also went into retrograde. But I need to define, and like one of the things that's important to understand when we're going through processes like this is a type of energy that is the frustration that fortifies. Being able to work through something that potentially bothers the self, but being able to articulate upon why it bothers the self allows the context and being able to do something more effectively. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's some energy in separation right now that is letting go of some trauma. And the way, and I wanted to define right now, the way we let go of trauma is often comprehension. And when we comprehend things, we often get very upset about things. We often get very upset about things because one of the things I was seeing that was occurring over the last few days, particularly and especially, has to do with the emotions that we bring to circumstances or situations. I'm not saying that there are not situations right now where there may be some resolution and some restoration that's occurring. But the context by which we identify resolution or restoration occurring has to do when we bring an over proportionality to something that is minor, something that was not necessarily a big deal. This could even be some energy that's healing from another eclipse process, because again, what do eclipse processes sometimes do? We bring a lot of over emotionality to something that feels very energetically trivial. So for a lot of the energy working through that right now, this is either healing from situations or circumstances in the identification of how far one has come, or And this is what time cannot heal. Situations or circumstances where we feel a lot of emotionality because we were articulating upon a standard, something that we were working to energetically maintain or uphold. This is why if another person comes back to us at those moments and says, are you done with those emotions? Those are the emotions of someone that says, I was never being emotional, I was being fundamental. The ability to articulate and define meaning upon something that allows for that clarity of observation, that is the clarity that's potentially fortifying some energy and separation in relationality to what they're healing from. Because I keep on hearing our emotions are not trivial when we're holding them to energetic standards. While we see that for a lot of the relationships right now, moving deeper into divine union, one of the things I may be seeing, remember when I said the frustration that fortifies right now has to do with circumstances and situations wherein they're working to clear the air outside of partnership. Clarification between our Page of Cups and our Hierophant card is we have here the Page of Wands in its reversal. So what are we effectively identifying in relationality to a lot of that work that we're seeing that is occurring for the energy that's moving deeper into divine union at this time? If these are situations or circumstances wherein there's a vibration of rapidity that's being brought into these relationships, a lot of these energies moving something into partnership much more quickly than they anticipated, potentially even speeding up a manifestation goal. This is the clarification in doing so that is effectively helping to clarify and identify what feels like it is energetically restorative, being able to bring a clarity to something. But here's the thing about it, and this is what we mean about Uranus. This is what we mean, and this is what can feel very pesky with Uranus in retrograde in Gemini, is the ability to tell the difference, working through chirality lessons, which is the difference between something that feels energetically positive for the self versus something that felt like it was energetically negative, and being able to articulate upon the nuance of intention that creates a point of separation. So for a lot of the energy doing that work, that ability of doing so and amplifying and articulating upon that, it's almost like having to talk about a past that one would feel more inclined not to necessarily have to navigate. But even so, we see that energy is doing that work to effectively clear the air outside of partnership. But even there, we may be seeing that there may be a little bit of difficulty that's happening as it relates to the maturation rate of the energy moving into divine union in relationality to the energy outside of partnership. So there's something that's very important there as it relates to, it's interesting because I keep on hearing the magician partnerships are going through a maturation process, but that maturation process is the identification point of where we put our priority. And that's why I keep on hearing that as we energetically mature, it feels rational and reasonable to prioritize partnership. But that's why I keep on seeing that the only difficulty I'm seeing for a lot of these relationships that are moving deeper into divine union right now is if these are circumstances where they're doing so and the energy outside of partnership isn't maturing at the same rate as the energy within partnership, it may be feeling like unnecessary energetic interference. Fourth and fifth card in our 5-card spread for today is, we have here our 5 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. The thing I keep on amplifying in relationality to this energy right now is it's most frustrating for energy that is deep within divine union, because as we articulated, this being the frustration that fortifies, working through a bunch of little things piling up on the self, feeling a lot of that energetic pressure. For a lot of the ability that we see that is happening right now, for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, it is not overly internalizing external problems. The difficulty point that we're experiencing with so much additional Virgo energy during Virgo season, because Mercury is also in Virgo right now, is things that feel minor but almost feel very targeted at the self, potentially poking at old wounds. So that's why we see like working through something in a way that feels like it's energetically productive, not getting too much in one's own headspace about it. You know, one of the things I keep on saying with this particular retrograde is the desire to hermit up, right? The desire to hermit up feels like it's really intense. But that's why it's almost like working through something in such a way that you're able to put that force of intention towards something. It's requiring a lot of that space in terms of being energetically intentional, but also being but not getting too hard on the self on the process. And that's what's effectively being helpful right now for some of the energy that is within union. Is, you'll recall that for a lot of these chariot partnerships, like having perspective, right? Not like allowing again a bit of the work that we saw that was coming through with that Aquarian full moon prior to us entering this full moon in Pisces, which is like when we feel energetically overwhelmed, we don't fall over ourselves. We step back. We build a sense of perspective. We build a sense of energetic timeliness. A lot of work being done right now in terms of building finesse, which is effectively strength through frustration. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Cups in combination with our Hierophant energy. We've got here the Lover's card. This is a beautiful card for us to be seeing right now, particularly for the energy in separation and for a lot of the energy that's work. And here's the thing about, like, the thing I think is really beautiful for some of the work that we're seeing for the energy in separation right now is a continuing message that articulates and defines to us that healthy partnership does not require us to move away from our standards. There's a lot of, I feel like there's something really important that's happening right now for a lot of the energy in separation. That is the reaffirmation of almost, and I want to say, like, this is almost like the energy in separation coming into union with the self, right? Because when we're in energetic union with the self, we understand that our standards are not pesky. Our standards are not something that get in the way of our manifestations. Our standards allow the possibility of our manifestations to come through. But what's so hard to heal, particularly and especially in context by which we are receiving trauma, is often the articulation of something that is not healthy for us will make one feel like your standards were the energetic problem, that they were the energetic hurdle. So there's a lot of potential alignment that's occurring right now. And that's what I mean about the benefit of this energy, particularly and especially for energy in separation, but also for energy that is coming into union right now, because it's the recognition point. And this is what we like to see with the retrograde and the eclipse, which is the identification point of finding a relationship that can experience or inhabit both of the modalities of the self in the context, right? Because you have to understand, and like we're seeing a lot of this right now, for a lot of the energy, the continuation of the lesson that we've been carrying through Virgo season is identifying and recognizing what perfect means. Perfect is an individuated experience. It's the identification point of our own energetic ideals. But it's often very, very common when we're not in a healthy space to allow others to get into our own energetic headspace in relationality to what perfect is, right? That identification point, or working through that energetic frustration, feeling the trauma in another person that identifies that we're not there perfect. But this is why not being able, like, this is why we talk about one of the most important steps that we take in a healthy healing journey is letting go of the energetic illusion of rejection. Because when we stop defining ourselves on other people's perfect, we can find our own sense of energetic perfect. A lot of the energy right now I see going through that work in separation, identifying and working through the lessons of prioritizing the self, holding the energetic standards, recognizing and identifying what works for the self. What I potentially see for some of this energy in separation is having gone into a point of separation where potentially another person was expecting someone to come into a space of desperation. And what does it mean when we come into a space of desperation? That's the space by which we abandon our energetic standards in order to move towards something. This is what I meant about this potentially being the eclipse retrograde of the rude awakening, because the rude awakening is understanding that it is very rude to try to build into a healthy connection with someone by building into the state of desperation to get them to energetically abandon their standards. It doesn't create healthy partnership. It just creates an unhealthy energetic imbalance, if you will. So that's why we see that for like a little bit of I feel like there's a little bit of this energy and separation that's having these experiences right now, potentially during this retrograde cycle, something coming back from the past that doesn't feel a separation point, but an identification of how far one has grown or how far one has changed, or being able to honor and recognize the value and the weight of the self, the energetic support that we give to ourselves when we're able to identify and recognize the difference between the standards that we want to bring to a situation versus what another person hopes to elucidate or create within the self. And that's why we see that for a lot of the energy doing that work, being able to recognize and identify and anticipate that to a certain extent. This is what I meant about some energy potentially breathing a sigh of relief and release going through this eclipse process, because it's the identification point and being able to recognize what wasn't working in a past unhealthy energetic experience. And the ability to understand comprehension is the panacea of trauma, because when we're carrying energetic trauma upon something, we don't understand why something is the way it was. It is something that occurred that doesn't make energetic sense. But when we're able to put that clarity of comprehension in it, and I keep on getting for a lot of the energy, it may be feeling like the owl, but there's also a wow, because it's a space by which someone is able to understand the pain that they were experiencing in connection, but also with the additional insight of the understanding. So for a lot of the energy doing that work, it's frustrating, it's enervating, right? I wouldn't be surprised if there was some energy right now that's in separation, that's feeling very energetically annoyed, but also, and this is why we talk about the fact that sometimes being annoyed is a good thing, because it's the annoyance that makes sense. It's the annoyance that one is able to put one's own articulation upon. It's the ability to derive and find energetic meaning in something that allows the space by being able to talk about why one is upset. And so I keep on hearing too that for a lot of the energy that is in separation, the ability to energetically have a conversation, like this is what we're talking about these temperance relationships that are moving deeper into partnership. Because you'll remember that we were talking about a lot of the space of understanding that observation, like the experience of being able to identify and recognize. And here's the thing I like about this. It's not the fact. And remember how I said that for some of these temperance relationships that are coming into union right now, it's not the fact that they don't energetically bother each other at times. It's not it's not the fact that there aren't these like small inconveniences. Like what's beautiful about these temperance partnerships is they understand that perfect is not made, it's found, right? Look at these combinations here with the Page of Cups, the Hierophant, and the Lover's card, right? This is the energy that knows what it means to fine tune, because when you're able to articulate and speak towards something that's energetically bothering the self, it allows one to arrive into a better state of being. So this is the energy that's feeling that sense of excitement, because I almost feel like the energy is feeling the delight of someone that they feel like can finally work with to build healthy partnership. Is what I keep on saying. This is literally what we mean by the start of a beautiful relationship. It's that practicality that we're able to bring to a situation that allows for the smoothness of something moving forward. This brings us to a lot of the energy and this is why I'm now seeing, like, I got to tell you, There's something I'm seeing that's happening right now for those magician partnerships that may be feeling a little bit more energetically frustrating. Why are we seeing that for some of those magician partnerships right now, that working through, or that identification point of working through the energetic frustration, the thing I keep on hearing for those magician partnerships, and when I say magician partnerships, recognize that I'm speaking specifically between the energy the energy that was coming together from about the solstice period up until the time that Mercury and Venus stationed direct behind Neptune. I keep on hearing that there's a lot of energy. Remember how we were talking about how last week a lot of that energy was articulating to energy outside of partnership? This is not that. It's not surprising that we have Gemini. We're going to be going through this a lot. Like when we've got Gemini, Uranus in Gemini is the ability to tell the difference. Like that's the difficulty thing with Uranus and Gemini. Things that look very similar but have very different meanings depending upon intention, right? And that's why you'll recall for some of that energy that was coming into divine union, working through something, articulating, potentially even working through a past on it, describing the similarity of something from the past that did not feel necessarily energetically supportive to the self. But now in the context of seeing something that feels like one is arriving, right? Conversing to someone about the difference between moving something forward out of a state of desperation versus a state of celebration. I just keep on seeing that if this is the energy that is now working through the observation that when we are not maturating at the same rate as energy that is surrounding us, we can sometimes get into argumentation points as it relates to priority. But this is why we've been having a lot of these conversations coming in, which is the understanding that maturation is simply the journey of recentering energetic priorities, right? And so what we effectively see that is happening right now is for some of these magician relationships, they're having recentering issues, which is the space by which, again, understanding that when we're in a maturing space and we have those relationships that come together, it's a cause for celebration. It's a cause for that sense of anticipation. But when we're not maturing at the same rate as those around us, this is why sometimes we can build into healthy partnership and we lose friendships in the process, or we lose energetic relationships with the identification that I keep on hearing recentering is a natural part of energetic processes. It's not, but, and that's why I see that for like a lot of the energy working through that, having to go, like remember when I said that some of the energy right now in separation was going through last week, like working through the rude awakening of understanding that it's rude to expect that a relationship's going to be healed by going away from it and expecting another person to abandon their standards. Well, we see even now that for some of the energy right now, working through the context of being able to articulate to another something that feels like it's energetically nourishing and experiencing, I keep on hearing, experiencing unnecessary static. Because remember when I said that for some of that energy, the ability to clear the air was what they were doing in partnership. There may be those modalities or those moments right now that almost bring with them a little bit of that work in potentially identifying the difference between energy that is effectively supportive of partnership, right? Energy that matures and gets it versus energy that is taking a relationship personally because they're still in more of a space of prioritizing pleasure instead of partnership. So we see even now that there may be a little bit of this like fragmentation that is potentially occurring with some of those magician partnerships. And I keep on getting it's bittersweet because I almost see that these are the energies within partnership that are almost looking towards them outside of partnership with a sense of compassion, understanding that someone is not in the same space of maturation or not looking at things in the same way, right? The ability of being able to have that energetic perspective. This brings us to a lot of the energy that's moving deeper into partnership right now. Clarification between our Hierophant in its upright and our Page of Wands in its reversal. There's our Star card. Love to see her. We're actually going to be studying that card. We're going to be studying that card in just about a week or so on Wednesday, September 18th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. But one of the things we like to see right now, and I got to tell you, if you look at yesterday's reading, the Star card, we had a bit of the Star card energy that was also coming through. She's been popping up in our readings pretty consistently right now. And the thing that we keep on seeing that is happening right now for a lot of the energy deep within divine union is, and I keep on seeing, it's like it's work. I keep on feeling like the one thing we're seeing for a lot of the energy right now that is deep within divine union is working through how vulnerable this energy makes us feel. We've got a lot of energy in retrograde, right? Which is the feeling of working through a lot of vulnerability, right? We've got a moon in Pisces, which can create a lot of emotionality. Jupiter is in Cancer, which can create a lot of feelings about doing something in a way that you haven't done it before, leading with love, if you will, trying to take a more of a compassionate perspective upon things. And it's a conversation. And the thing is, at the same time, we've got a bit of that tripwire that's occurring with the fact that as all of that's happening, we've got all of these planets that are retrograding in Aries. When I say that this is like vulnerable, this is what I mean in relationality to that feeling of energetic vulnerability. And then just a little icing on the cake on the vulnerability sandwich that we find that this retrograde eclipse season is bringing out. We've also got Mercury in Virgo, which can create the feeling of working through things and being very energetically exacting. Okay? It's a lot of that, like, what happens if I press right here, right? It can create a lot of that energetic irritation. It can create a lot of that energetic frustration. But I keep on seeing that our ability to articulate and identify, to be able to put to words something that is energetically bothering us allows us to be able to innovate upon it, right? The articulation and the expectation by which we're able to find solutions to energetic problems. What's very important during these retrograde cycles is not overly internalizing in such a way that it creates that the space by which you're articulating upon grade processes, the ability to take something small and to effectively energetically perseverate upon it, to feel a lot of that emotionality often creates the space by which we have to work through something. But that's why I keep on saying that for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, working on finesse, right? Working on the ability of working through the frustration point and allowing it to fortify the self in relationality to how you're energetically trying to communicate. This is a lot of that energy that's deep within divine union, potentially experiencing and having breakthroughs. But it's going to be, and I feel like one of the biggest challenges for energy like this is making sure that you're not effectively projecting that on energy around the self, but working with a lot of determination from within. And that's what we like to see with the Lovers card and the Star card, and it's upright, because these are some very beautiful cards to have in combination, which is the identification of the self, right? Like, this is a conversation that almost says, like, the manifestation goal of this retrograde is remember who you are, right? And when you remember who you are, you don't let situations make you someone that you're not, is what I keep on seeing. While we continue to have clarity, and I feel like that's what's like beautiful, because we're seeing that for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, like finding that sense of energetic confidence, feeling that supportive sense of self. This is often what we find in healthy energetic partnership, because often when we forget who we are, we've got the energetic counterpart there that often effectively helps us see ourselves with more clarity. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Wands in its reversal in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its reversal. Can I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with 1 minute. We got, yep, okay. We've got here our Death card in its reversal. And this card should also look very familiar right now, because the Death card in its reversal has been coming up a lot. It was coming up in yesterday's reading. It's back again for this one. And it was coming up in yesterday's reading. It's back again for this one. And what we effectively identify and recognize, with that Death card in its reversal, is it talks a lot about the ability or the space by which we allow the context of identifying what we allow to get under our energetic skin. And the thing about these eclipse cycles, and I just kind of want to bring this up, identifying what we allow to get under our energetic skin. And the thing about these eclipse cycles, and I just kind of want to bring this up, is when we are going through an eclipse cycle like the one we're going through at this time, it can it can create that space. It can create that space by which you want to effectively, it's like it can create that moment or those experiences where you get really, really frustrated at the self. But this is why I keep on seeing, don't get frustrated. Allow oneself to become energetically fortified, which is the space by which you're just able to do something in an even stronger fashion. It's hard. I know that it's not easy right now, given all of the energy that we're experiencing with this retrograde. But I'll tell you right now, this particular energetics experience is easy right now, given all of the energy that we're experiencing with this retrograde. But I'll tell you right now, this particular energetics experience, when we're recognizing and identifying this right now, a lot of this work for a lot of the energy and separation, working through a point of frustration, but at the same time being able to recognize and identify the problem. It's I keep on hearing, it's like the frustrated healing journey, because you're going to heal, but you're going to be very frustrated in the process of healing, because you're going to be able to recognize and identify the source of an energetic trauma. Right? It's like being I have figured out what's energetically wrong. And what's hard about that, and I feel like this is what we're seeing that's happening for a lot of energy and separation. There's these moments or these modalities wherein we often wish the problem was coming from inside the house, is what I keep on seeing. There are those experiences where we often over-internalize problems because we understand that the work within the self is something that we can navigate. One of the biggest things that often happens in the healing journey is the recognition that it is not necessarily your responsibility to fix everything. And often when we have those moments or those modalities where we look towards something and we're trying to overly fix it, we're not allowing ourselves the clarity to be able to energetically diagnose a problem correctly. So for a lot of the energy right now, I keep on seeing, if these are experiences or circumstances where someone moved away from someone in a moment where there was a lot of emotionality, with the expectation that there was going to be some kind of, I keep on hearing some kind of passionate reunion, right? That's what I meant. Instead of a passionate reunion during this time, it's very likely someone's experiencing or going through a rude awakening, which is the reason I keep on saying it's a rude awakening is the observation that it is energetically impolite to move away from someone that is feeling emotional because their energetic standards are being challenged, with the expectation that time is going to dissolve or make them go away to allow one to return back into something that wasn't the energetic manifestation goal in the first place. So what we effectively see that's occurring in those experiences is a lot of energy that may be feeling even in the space by which something from the past is coming back, they're able to find themselves. They're remembering, they're not remembering the relationship, they're remembering who they are. They're remembering why something is energetically important. They're articulating and they're saying, finish the conversation, because a healthy relationship is a places where we finish conversations. We also see here that for a lot of the energy that is coming into divine union, this is why I was seeing that these are potentially some of those magician partnerships that are working through some issues potentially outside of partnership, because what's difficult when we are experiencing or working through partnership is the observation or the understanding that when we maturate faster than the energy that is around us and we are centering partnership, which is the energetic standard of what we do as we maturate, if energy is not in the same maturation cycle as us, they will see us maturating and centering partnership, which is the logical thing we do as we maturate, and feeling like they're energetically not in the space of doing or like almost like damaging a friendship in the process. And that's what I keep on hearing that's happening right now for a lot of these magician partnerships, is having to have a conversation with energy that is not maturating at the same rate as the energy in partnership, saying healthy relationship does not damage friendships, it fortifies relationships. It's the observation of something that everyone does that is energetically logical. But potentially I keep on seeing that this is why for some of that energy, it may be feeling frustrating, because I keep on seeing you can't articulate to another what a maturation process is. You can't articulate to another until they've experienced that. It's like a lot of the energy that's coming into partnership that wishes they could give energy outside of partnership the gift of wisdom. I want you to kind of see the gift that wisdom brings, but this is the energy that also understands that you can't force wisdom on someone, because when you try to force wisdom on someone, whoops, you've energetically created trauma. This brings us to a lot of the energy that is deep within divine union. And so for a lot of the energy deep within divine union right now, can I get clarification? I told you, for energy deep within divine union, this is just to show you that this energy is frustrating, but like I keep on getting, the frustration that fortifies is helpful for energy and separation coming into union. I'll tell you right now, if you're deep within divine union, it probably feels like attack of the minor inconveniences. Okay. It probably feels like attack of the minor inconveniences. There's like a ton of every single planet, and even things that are not planets. I need to stress this. Even things that are not planets, planetary bodies, my friends, are retrograding right now in Aries, which just means like everything just piling up. It wears away at us. And that's the thing about it. With a retrograde cycle, at the, like, going through the retrograde cycle that we're currently experiencing, it's the fact that there's so many of them happening at once. And everyone keeps on asking me, when is it going to end? Like, all the planets came together and they're like, let's go into retrograde. It's going to end as slowly as it began. Okay. Like, it was a slow wind up. It'll be a slow de-escalation of the retrograde energy. We have to work through our perseverance. Okay. We got to kind of energetically push through this. We got to take a little bit. We got to have, it's like a little bit of an energetic endurance test to a certain extent. Clarification between our Five of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. There it is. We've got our full energy. And I have to stress this right now. I just need to show you this. And again, if you haven't had the opportunity to do so, I would strongly encourage you to head over to our stack and look at today's spread. And the reason I'm saying to look at today's spread that I think is really important is this second row that we are effectively seeing right now it's all major arcana. It is all major arcana, which says, again, and it's like when energy pesters you, remember who you are. Whoa. Cue the music. That was cool. When energy pesters you, remember who you are, which is don't let someone get the best of you, or don't let something frustrating get the better of you. Don't, and this is why we talk about not matching energy. Like, all you do when you match someone's energy or something's energy that is not coming towards you in a proper way is the understanding that anybody can make anyone become anyone, so long as they're expecting another person to reflect their own audacity. Like, that's all it does. Like, Matt, there is nothing noble in matching energy. It's just somebody being like, oh, look, they failed the audacity test. I can make that person become anything by being energetically audacious to them. So what we effectively see is that for a lot of the energy doing that work, it's a lot. I feel like there's a lot of this work in the retrograde that requires the ability to recenter. Right? It's a lot of that ability of just kind of continuing to find one center. And I'm not going to say right now, listen to me. I'm not saying right now that you can't tell someone how you feel during this retrograde period. I am not saying for you to no, it's not about being tight-lipped during a retrograde season with an eclipse on top of it. It's making sure that you're being intentional with what you're saying. And remembering that compassion is communication of passion. It's not being led by passion. Doing something passionately that doesn't make sense means that you are a vehicle of your passions. Okay. You are a vehicle. You do not have control of the ship that is the self if you're allowing your passions to guide you any which way you want. We are in control of ourselves when we are able to communicate upon our passions, which is the space that says, and this is also Gemini in Uranus, which is Uranus and Gemini, which is you can have both. You can be passionate and be communicative. You don't need to lose one for the other. You just need to be able to articulate upon it and speak upon why something has emotionality. It's not about not being emotional. Okay? Being in the experience of existing should be one that allows us to be able to feel the full breadth of our emotions. But the emotions that make sense are the emotions that we put meaning upon. And so that's what I keep on seeing that's happening right now with the Lovers card and the Star card. And that's what I keep on seeing that's happening right now with a lot of these energies that are either building into new partnership right now or closing an energetic cycle, because there's a little bit of the hands on the hip energy that says a healthy partnership does not require us to lose our standards in moving towards it. It reaffirms why we have them in the first place. That's what alignment means. So that's what we're effectively seeing with that Lovers and Star card energy in union here. Clarification between those is, there it is. We've got the Strength card. We got that Strength card. And I keep on hearing there's some energy right now in separation, frustrated but fortified. Right? It's like frustrated but fortified. And I keep on hearing frustrated but fortified because the winds of time do not erode our standards when we know who we are to be. Right? It's not that energy that moves away from us. And I keep on seeing it's not the relationship that is about the energetic reunion in the space by which another person articulates how much they miss another person. It's the ability to continue a conversation, the ability to put words to something, to articulate upon how we feel, that allows us to build something energetically real. And that's what I keep on seeing with this is a continuation of the lessons, moving away from those temperance relationships, the combination of Neptune and Saturn. Sentiment is no way to build a relationship. You can't build a relationship on shifting ground. Sentiment is like sand. It shifts. Our opinion of it changes. Things that are energetically sentimental have personal meaning to us. They're not energetically fundamental. So what's effectively happening right now for a lot of the energy, there's a lot of the energy that is in separation is building into the context of understanding the difference between a relationship that is sentimental, which is built on, I keep on hearing, built on the token, the token good, the things that are good, that are incredible once in a while, versus something that is energetically fundamental, which is good all the time, is what I keep on seeing. And so for a lot of the energy building into that space, it's frustrating, right? Because it's energetically fortifying, because it's understanding that what is good is energetically reliable. It's something that you can depend on. It's something that you don't wait upon. It's something that effectively delivers, is what I keep on saying. Now, for continuing for a lot of the relationships right now, and what's interesting about that, and this is why I see some of this energy and separation getting frustrating. I'm already getting indications of where this relationship cycle is going. If these are relationships where another person is articulating the problems that another person brought to a relationship, right? right? This is the energy that's recognizing that you can tell the difference between an unhealthy relationship and a positive one, because all of the benefits that someone would articulate in a healthy relationship, someone in an unhealthy relationship will see as a problem, right? You're obsessed with me, right? That's the energy that says you care about me perpetually, right? It's like someone being like, you like, it's the energy that says you're needy, which is the identification of saying we're supposed to have energetic needs in relationship. It's understanding the proportionality that we bring to things, which identifies and recognizes whether something is an energetic problem or not. So yeah, like, is something the space by which we care about each other, and we put that continual force of care towards something, as long as it's energetically proportionate to honoring another person's choice. It's not I keep on hearing it's not energetically obsessive. But someone who's in an unhealthy relation, who doesn't want a healthy relationship, will look at someone putting the normal a level of care towards something, and they will articulate it as obsessive. When we are feeling it's not needy to have a fixed point of need, so long as, again, much like the space by which we talk about our attention, so long as the fixed point of need is something that we can articulate and define and show another in terms of what we identify. But someone who does not want to meet our needs will articulate and say that we're being energetically needy rather than energetically delivering on the energetic standard. So all we keep on seeing here for a lot of these relationships is a lot of the energy. If these are situations where there was an over emotionality, where someone was being energetically emotional because their standards were not being met, and then another person walked away from them and they're coming back expecting that the energy would be so happy to see another person that they would throw their energetic standards to the side of the road, they're in like, this is not the time. This is wrong door. That's what I keep on saying. Wrong place, because I just keep on seeing this energy that's been going through the healing process, which is frustrated but fortified, which is the ability to move away from something and being able to understand and define why it energetically bothered the self so much in the first place. This is the energy that's been like, I'm glad you're back. I got some notes. I've been working on a list. I've been working on a book. I've been working on a whole explanation on why that was not energetically okay. So there's a lot of like, it's like the energy that instead, I keep on hearing the energy, instead of finding a party, they're finding a laundry list. they're finding an energetic laundry list. And so even here, and it's like, I keep on hearing the energetic laundry list of respectfully go away, which is funny. While continuing to get clarification, for the energy that's moving deeper into divine union. For a lot of this energy going into divine union, I can just see this energy that wants to like put their head through a wall. Because for a lot of the energy right now, I see that these magician partnerships are understanding. I can see some energy outside of partnership that is articulating upon the fact that they're changing. And this is what's so difficult for some of those energies that are moving deeper into divine union, is I can almost see some energy outside of partnership articulating upon the fact that they're changing. And what is the energy? What are these magician relationships saying? We're supposed to change, right? That is what we do as we continue on journeys of maturation. We celebrate our changing, right? We celebrate our energetic transformation. And that's why I keep on seeing that there's something that's happening right now for some of the energy that is coming into union, because they're recognizing and identifying something that's happening in partnership that's having a profound effect on some of the relationships outside of energetic union. This is what we talk about the sadness of partnership, with the understanding that not always everyone can come with us as we move into healthy union. Because you'll move into healthy union and you'll start to prioritize partnership as one should, and another person outside of partnership will see you and articulate and say that your priorities are not in check. They'll say that you're concentrating on the wrong thing. They'll say that you're energetically obsessed with relationship, as one ought to be when you're moving into a healthy space and prioritizing the things that one is supposed to prioritize. So that's why we keep on seeing that for a lot of those relationships, it's having to, I feel like there's something difficult because it's the energy that understands that what's happening outside of partnership, they can't even take it personally because they realize that it is a maturation issue. And you can't, I keep on hearing, you can't force wisdom into someone without creating trauma. You can't do it. You can't force a maturation. You can't until you understand. That's the problem with wisdom. Until you understand it, it's very hard to recognize and see. So I see a lot of this energy that is trying to potentially handle a difficult maturation process energetically delicately, which is like almost like having to say to someone, like, you'll understand someday is what I keep on seeing. It's like the energy that is trying to articulate to another and saying, trust me, you will energetically understand someday. This brings us to the Star card in its upright in combination with our Death card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? Clarification coming through with our Nine of Pentacles in its upright. So one of the challenging things that we're seeing right now, for the energy deep within divine union, I feel like what's beautiful about what's happening for a lot of the energy in divine union right now is I keep on hearing finding new reserves of patience is what I keep on seeing. Oh, patience here. I didn't know I had. It's working through the context of finding energetic reserve of patience is what I'm effectively seeing to a certain extent. But why are we seeing and recognizing situations or circumstances where another person is identifying and finding new reserves of patience? Because I like to point this out, like when we feel energetically, like, and I feel like, again, it has a lot of that space of the understanding that when someone, like when situations feel like they try you, right? And like I like to say try, which is the space by which something bothers you, right? You don't match energy. You remember who you are. Is what I keep on saying. You remember who you are, which is you stand taller in yourself, right? You stand taller in yourself. You articulate. And that's what we talk about with a healthy ego. We're supposed to have egos, so long as our egos are in proportion with what we find inside of ourselves, right? When you meet somebody with a healthy ego, I'll tell you right now, it becomes amazing because you go, listen, I've been in there. It's dope. What's outside, it's the same the whole way in. You would never believe it. You get to know that person, that outside, it's just more of that. It's kind of cool. It's just bigger. I don't know how they do it, right? It's the observation that a healthy ego is articulated in the absolute pleasure and joy it is to have one. Because when we're operating in the space of the ego, of the self, then it's the understanding of the authenticity that is a gift to ourselves and to those around us, right? It's the space by which we feel energetically fortified and the space by which we energetically show up for one another. And everything I keep on seeing in relationality to a lot of this retrograde, I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be honest, this is kind of one of those retrograde / eclipse seasons. It feels like, I keep on feeling, it's going to feel like a lot of like that space by which you feel energetically tried. The reason I need to point this out, I'm going to say this right now, nobody is trying to test you on energetically anything. This is an energetic experience. This is an energetic issue we are having right now. And I'm going to break it down for you. Okay. What are we effectively seeing? All right. We got Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter in Cancer is all about the identification of the self. Makes you feel a little vulnerable, makes you feel a little isolated, makes you feel a little lonely. All those planets retrograding in Aries, making you feel a little testy, making you feel a little stir crazy, making you feel a little pokey. All right. You got Uranus in Gemini, retrograding in Gemini. Things aren't happening at the timeline that you want. The wrong things are changing too quickly. Things aren't changing fast enough. Doubly amplified by the fact we got Neptune and Saturn in retrograde right now, which is making it really hard to keep track of things. Hard to remember if something already happened or if it's about to happen, right? And we also doesn't have to help the fact that Saturn just slipped back into Pisces. Okay. We've got Chiron and Eris, which makes you feel really energetically frustrated about the stuff that you have to carry so far and the peskiness of trauma that you can't let go of, but you find yourself constantly looking at and returning to. All right. And just to add a little icing on that cake of frustration, we've got Mercury in Virgo, which is a little bit of like, it feels it's very exacting, or the need to be perfect feels like it's energetically profound. Compassion. Compassion is how we move through this. And the compassion we find for others begins with ourselves. So I keep on saying it's working in the context of compassion. It's doing something in a greater way. It's finding an energetic easement point. It's working towards energetic solutions. It starts in the context of being able to articulate upon the compassion that we're bringing towards things. And that is, I'm going to say this again, compassion does not mean that you bite your tongue on things. It doesn't mean that you harbor something and say, I'm being compassionate about it. That's not compassion. Okay, that's not compassion. Compassion is communicating upon something that has energetic meaning. And the ability to have that, to do that work, is how we're able to work through things. Continuing to get clarification between our Death card in its reversal and our Fool card in its upright. One card to clarify, please. We've got here our Ace of Cups. I got to tell you, these cards right now are very lovely. If you have a chance, head over to the stack after we do this reading if you want to see today's full spread. Because it's saying to me, and that's what I keep on hearing, like when it feels like the world's being hard on us, we remember who we energetically are. Right? When things feel like when we, and I like to point this out, when things are not going well, we can either enhance the problem or we can be each other's energetic solution. And I keep on seeing that there's something really important that I see that's happening right now during this retrograde eclipse cycle, which is speaking towards energetic calibration. It's working towards the space of identifying and recognizing how I keep on hearing how we work towards things, how we energetically stand through things. And again, the ability of recognizing, and I keep on seeing the ability of building into the space of maturation is not taking things energetically personally, is what I keep on seeing. And I know that, and I'm going to keep on saying this right now. Because I'm going to tell you right now, do not tell me that you came out of this eclipse or retrograde cycle taking something personally. Because there may be things that are going on during this eclipse cycle that are going on under the surface that are going to potentially make you look silly, is what I keep on saying. Like working through something in such a way that is the identification point of recognizing and identifying that when we put compassion towards things, it doesn't mean that we're okay with everything. We articulate upon something that's energetically bothering us that allows us to be able to identify and recognize new solutions. And that's what I keep on seeing. Like I've got some plateau energy happening right now for some energy and separation. I've got some plateau energy. Look at this right now. I want to show you this. These cards together, the Strength card, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Ace of Cups. This is some energy right now in separation that is recognized that they've found a level or degree of peace for themselves. And when we find that peace for ourselves, we understand that energy that cares about us loves our peace. When energy cares about us and they see us in a peaceful place, our hearts grow tremendously. And that's what I keep on hearing is happening right now for a lot of the energy and separation. It is the identification and recognition that love is the ability to see someone in a space of peace and say yippee. say that's amazing. It's the space by which we feel the energetic happiness that allows the feeling of energetic amplification of restoration. And that's what I keep on seeing that is occurring right now for a lot of the energy working through or identifying and recognizing upon that facet, which is, again, it's not the identification. It's not, and even with as it relates to situations from the past, returning back to energy and separation, I see the energy not saying, what are you doing here? I see the energy saying, are you honoring the peace that I have created for the self, or are you here to try to energetically affect it? Is what I keep on seeing. This is a lot of the energy that is identifying and recognizing this is the energy that says healthy partnership will prioritize the maintenance of the peace that we create for ourselves. That's what healing is what I keep on seeing. Clarification between our Strength card and our Nine of Pentacles. There's that here, like there it is. And this is that journey that says when we find peace in the present, we think about the past differently, is what I keep on seeing. And so for a lot of the energy there, and I keep on seeing again, if like this is the energy that is working on the ability to identify the difference between energy coming back from the past that says, I want to go forward, versus energy that comes back from the past and says, I want to go backward. That is the gift. That is the gift that we're experiencing right now with the fact that Saturn has moved back into Pisces, which is the ability to conversate upon what the future holds instead of being overly sentimental on something that one had in the past. Because I keep on seeing that for some of these relationships, the observation of a separation that occurred at the time that another person was trying to talk about manifestation goals, I keep on hearing the energy that keeps on reaffirming healthy relationship is never damaged by talking about manifestation goals. But those with unhealthy relationships or aren't being authentic about their manifestations will separate from us as we're talking about manifestation goals, articulating that we're ruining a good thing because they've reached their manifestation, and then we'll energetically wait and try to return back to it to see if they can go back to the manifestation that they had when they began. And so this is a lot of this energy that I keep on hearing. What's happening for the energy in separation? No restart. No restart, which means you don't build into a relationship by going back to the way it was when it first began. You continue where it left off, or you don't continue at all. And so that's why I keep on seeing for a lot of the energy, this is the manifestation that says we continue the conversation, or I wish you a good day. Continuing to get clarification, and even here, that space, like literally, this is the energy that understands that conversation that made someone go away from them was an energetic blessing. What an absolute blessing to know that all you need to do is have a conversation with someone on manifestation goals to determine whether they are in the space of working with you or something that is working energetically against you moving towards them. So I keep on seeing that for a lot of this energy, this is the energy that has celebrated how far they've come, because they don't see the rejection as the rejection of the self. They see it as energetic protection. Continuing to get clarification between our Nine of Pentacles in combination with our Ace of Cups in its upright. Boom! Wow, these two cards. I told you, this is the 1-2 punch of Neptune and Saturn in retrograde. Energy coming back. Someone's not saying, so good to see you. They're saying forwards or backwards. Are you here to speak to me because you want to go forwards, or are you trying to go backwards? And this is the energy that is building into the context of the present. And this is why the same work we see that those magician partnerships are simultaneously doing in relationality to working through the resolution of having to navigate the fact that moving into partnership is affecting the energy outside of partnership. Because again, it's working on the understanding that when we're in healthy partnership, we center partnership. But when someone is not maturing at the same rate as us, they will see us energetically centering partnership, and they will tell us that they're energetically concerned about us, is what I keep on saying. This is the energy that understands that in the process of centering partnership, as one does, that when we're in a healthy space, that is a space of celebration. Energy will often say, happy for you, sad for me. But when someone is not maturing at the same rate as us, they'll see us moving into healthy partnership, and they'll articulate their concern They'll articulate their concern about us because they're feeling the weight of being deprioritized in our energetic experience. So we see here that for a lot of the energy working through that understanding, this is why I see the energy that's working through the bittersweetness of it, because I can see the energy that almost understands. They're like, I keep on hearing they're waiting for that healing to come, which is to say, I'll see you again someday, which is the space of understanding that another person might take something personally. What did I say is happening during eclipses? The overabundance of emotionality we bring to something that was not energetically important. I see some energy right now literally coming into partnership, dealing with situations like that, which is someone getting very, very over emotional upon something that is energetically minor, but is really articulating the unconscious issue of the fact that they're recognizing that centering of partnership, that when others do it, when we are not, sometimes makes us feel like we are being energetically alienated. So I see that for a lot of the energy right now, it's like a lot of the work in terms of identifying and navigating that, and almost recognizing and understanding what's occurring, but not being able to do anything about it, which is often what is difficult when we go through maturation issues. This brings us to a lot of the energy deep within divine union. And let me tell you right now, attack of the minor inconveniences. Look at this energy right now. These two cards. Clarification between our Seven of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Five of Swords in its upright. Boom, King of Swords in its reversal. Okay, we're going to talk about this right now. It's having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy right now. And I got to tell you, it's because this retrograde eclipse cycle is bringing up a lot of inner child healing. And this is the problem. I need to tell you this. You got to be conscientious. Inner child healing cannot be the same for masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what it feels most aligned to. Because what we're effectively seeing, and this is why we always have a little bit of disparity when we're working through the inner child healing between masculine and feminine. Often feminine working on inner child healing is learning how to have standards, which means it's awful when feminines go through inner child healing because it's often having to heal the space of disappointing others. You don't have to hug that person. You don't have to be nice to someone you don't want to be nice to. This is often the shape of a lot of the feminine energy. Often feminine energy, when they're going through the work of inner child healing, it's requiring them to build into the context of healing intimacy wounds, which is the space by which they don't necessarily need to be nice all the time. It's the space by which they get to honor the fact that they're allowed to have energetic boundaries, so long as they're not trying to hurt someone in the context of having them. It's working on having boundaries respectfully, delicately, but firmly. While for masculine energy, this is the masculine energy that is learning to energetically communicate upon their needs, that it's not wrong to have emotions, so long as we are not controlled by our emotions, so long as we're doing the work to like we talk about, as to whether the emotion that we're experiencing is something that requires inner work or outer work. So long as we are receiving our emotions, it's okay to have them. But for a lot of the masculine, it feels very vulnerable in the ability of expressing them, particularly if the masculine was taught that masculine energy was not allowed to have them. So we see even now that there may be feeling a little bit of disparity between masculine and feminine energy at this time, because we see that this energy right now is triggering those inner child wounds, but it's bringing out different qualities and characteristics in masculine and feminine in the process. So being able, I keep on hearing the work right now for energy deep within divine union is being mindful of each other's journey, understanding that you're going through the same process, but it may be bringing different things out in one another. Clarification on bottom of the deck. Justice card. I know it's going to sound a little odd, but there's something wildly balanced in the midst of this. Remember I said comprehension is expansion. The amount of something that we can navigate allows us to be able to articulate upon the possibilities. And the thing about this, I keep on saying, like the thing that's happening right now, and the reason I keep on articulating that this season is extremely intense, is we've got a lot of, the best way I can describe it, retrograde energy is down energy, right? It's a lot of that depth of intensity. Eclipses are up energy. So What's effectively happening right now, I told you, it's about being comprehensive. It's being able to feel the energetic expansion of things. But that's why I told you it's really important that you stay grounded and centered as you navigate a lot of the energy that's coming towards us right now, because it's very easy to feel energetically overwhelmed. When we feel energetically overwhelmed, we center by remembering what? Our energetic purpose. So if you're feeling a little overstretched in this energy, if you're feeling a little discombobulated, if you're feeling a lot discombobulated, if you're feeling like it's a lot, remember your purpose. If you don't have one, maybe it might be a good, if you don't have one, might be a good time to start thinking about it. Think about feel like what is your energetic purpose, and let that reaffirm your energetic commitment in terms of what you're trying to do effectively. Don't be reactive, be contemplative, and move with energetic purpose through it. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book a reading and pay for a reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do it there. A couple of updates before we get started on today's personal readings. First and foremost, I would like to invite you to a special class that I'm teaching this evening. It is happening at 8 p.m. PST. I believe that's 5 p.m. Eastern. I will be teaching a mystical poetics class called Queering the Infinite that is being hosted by the Buy Plus Book Gang. You can still purchase tickets for that event this evening over on the Eventbrite that you'll find over on my stack or over on their stack. You can find a link over on the newsletter at my stack. I look forward to potentially seeing you there tonight. I'm also very happy to let you guys know that I also am going to be teaching, we're going to be continuing our Tarot Church classes with a study on the star card that will be happening not Wednesday this month, but Thursday, September 18th at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern. As I mentioned, we will be studying the symbology of that card. We'll be studying the history of that card. I'll be working you guys through spread applications, how to read that card in any direction it may appear in your own readings. I'm also going to be presenting you a unique spread to help you channel the messages of the star card into your own readings. And all of that is available to you if you become a paid subscriber to my stack. If you become a monthly subscriber to my stack, you'll have access to that class. You will also have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library class archive. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we've learned and studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my stack, not only will you receive a discount on the whole year's worth of classes, you will also receive full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library Archive. That is access to over 17 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You will also have access to a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally to assess where you are on your own personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage, moving towards your tarot goals going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my stack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to my mystic meditations when they come out. I just released one recently on navigating this full moon most effectively. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits. Also, for my students that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly, as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings, which you can purchase per dream or as a series. If you purchase the series, I would encourage you to start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again